Rayner has hit out at This Morning for launching a new segment that shares the same name as his podcast. Rayner, 54, has openly criticized This Morning today for launching a new segment that uses the same name as his popular podcast. The food critic slammed the morning show on Twitter to his 325,000 followers. It comes after Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby announced the program's new Out to Lunch segment, with Nigel Havers, 69. The new addition to the show sees the actor meeting a famous friend in a glamorous London restaurant. Jay was outraged, as his podcast is also called Out to Lunch with Rayner, and he claimed This Morning's Out to Lunch follows a similar concept to his show. The food critic vented this frustration on Twitter. He said, "One for the producers of At This Morning, and at Chauffe, at Hollywills. There's nout unique about interviewing people over food. But out of basic self-respect and originality, couldn't you have come up with a name other than #Out to Lunch for your new segment? Given a certain podcast." Jay was so frustrated, he then replied to his own tweet to share his thoughts further. He said, "It's gobsmacking, to be honest at This Morning. Not just the same idea. Not just exactly the same name. But even the same location as the last episode of #Out to Lunch recorded in a restaurant." Havers is sitting in exactly the seat I sat in at Holborn Dining. Aren't you embarrassed? In the first episode, Nigel was joined by Griff Rhys-Jones at the Rosewood London, where they chatted about their showbiz lives. Similarly, in the most recent episode of Jay's podcast, he is eating with Charles Dance in the Pie Room at the Holborn Dining Room, which is part of the Rosewood Hotel. Express.co.uk has contacted a representative for ITV for comment. Fans of the food critic jumped to his defense on Twitter. One said, "I thought this when I saw the bit on it. Why could they not ask you to do it also? Far more entertaining." Another said, "Seems to be the way these days. Why think of something original, when you can rip off something that is a successful lock, stock and barrel? No shame at all." A third said, "I hear they're also about to release a new, This Morning, book called Chewing the Fat, with Holly and Phil." The food critic recently published a book entitled, Chewing the Fat, Tasting Notes from a Greedy Life.